There's a logical point.
Did any of these motherfuckers make one mention of that?
No.
No, of course not. Because I have to make up my own storylines because the announcing sucks.
So they did a bunch of stuff. They all brawled up to the top of the ramp, and John Cena used a guardrail. He started beating up the Stooges. Got very slow and boring for a while, and then the referee got bumped.
The referee got bumped in a tables match.
Okay, so the referee is out. They do, frankly, some amazing spots involving guys almost going to the table. Seth Rollins looked awesome here. And then finally, in a tables match, John Cena hits a AA off the middle rope to put Rollins through a table, but the referee is bumped. Therefore, there's no one to declare this over. No one has the power to announce, to grant Cena the victory he has clearly earned. So the match continues, and they go on for a while.
Let me note, by the way, that after the finish, they had 3 referees come out to try to figure out who won.
That is what I am getting to.
Okay.
Yes, so they keep brawling, and Cena and Rollins are brawling on the apron, and they knock each other out, and together they fall through tables on the floor. And yes, the referee who was assigned to this match and 2 referees from the back all come out, and they're all very confused about what happened. And the first referee from the back declares Cena the winner. The next referee from the back declares Rollins the winner. And the third referee just says, fuck it, we're restarting the match. So these guys from the back could clearly see, in their opinion, that either Rollins or Cena went through the tables first. But neither of them missed Cena putting Rollins through the table the minute before.
Not just that, but when a referee goes down, why the fuck didn't one of those guys run down and replace him?
I don't know.
Why did they wait until after the match was over? And furthermore, the referee that restarted the match, I believe was the original referee who got bumped. I may be wrong. But if you're just going to restart the match because it was a tie, why did you fucking call for the bell when it was a tie?
I don't know. None of this makes a goddamn lick of sense. Maybe I'm not tired. Maybe I can't get angry. So they restarted the match, and Big Show came out because I don't know why. And then Roman Reigns came out because I don't know why either.
I know why. Because when a guy comes back from hernia surgery, the first thing you should do is put him in the ring with the biggest dude.
Yeah.
Luckily, he didn't try and lift him.
True. So he speared Show through a table. He hit Rollins with the Superman punch. And Cena finally hit the AA through the table, and Cena actually legitimately won. My God, there was too much going on here, and none of it made any sense. And with all that in mind, we still think it should have been the main event.
Some people were very, very upset because I wrote on Twitter that I thought that the real finish, not the original finish, the real finish was pretty good. And a lot of people were very, very upset. Listen, they are going to do Brock Lesnar and John Cena at the Royal Rumble. So if that is their plan, then John Cena had to win this match. You brought back Roman Reigns. It's not like the people weren't into this at all. The people were into Roman Reigns' return, second only to Dolph Ziggler in his hometown winning the craziest ladder match they've done in a long time. So this was a success, and I thought it was a good finish, and I have no problem with it. People were so upset that Seth lost. Seth is a heel.
Seth was never going to win this.
In real wrestling booking, the heel should lose quite a bit to the babyface.
Yeah. You are correct.
What the hell's wrong with Seth losing this match? Who gives a shit? What difference does it make? Like he's not the top heel still?
Yeah.
Of course he is.
Yeah. They went to the experts panel of Alex Riley and Booker T. They had nothing of value to say. Speaking of nothing of value, Saxton interviewed the Bellas. He repeated, in plain English this time, that the storyline is they are back together because.
That was all they came up with.
Mm-hmm. Nikki versus AJ. For the second match in a row, the whole story was the babyface, I guess, fighting off constant interference from multiple people trying to get in there. Match was very boring. The highlight was when Nikki tore off AJ's bracelet or hair thingy or something and held it aloft like a trophy. The referee ejected Brie, doing her a favor so she wouldn't have to see the match anymore. But this let Nikki spray AJ in the eyes or something, hit an elbow, and then the rack attack for the win. A terrible match.
Yeah. What did you expect? It was all right. If you want to talk about terrible matches, we can get into Kane versus the Ryback. This was a Raw match. No?
They were both very bad. This is not worth arguing which is worse. Saxton interviewed Roman Reigns.
This was worse than the match.
This was worse than either match. Roman was stumbling over his lines, declared he was entering the Royal Rumble, then he looked right into the camera and completely lost his train of thought.
Can we just let this guy do promos on his own? Because him reading scripted promos has not been working.
No, it sucks. It sucks bad.
Yeah.
Kane versus Ryback in a chairs match. This did not turn the show around. I have been watching guys take bumps onto ladders and stairs and tables. All of these objects have sharp, pointy edges that are very dangerous to fall on. And here's Ryback and Kane teasing a suplex onto a nice flat chair. So, they spent 10 minutes hitting each other with chairs, and then Ryback hit the shell shock and won.
Not much to it.
I don't know what else to tell you.
I have nothing to add. The match, the chairs match, everybody, between the Ryback and Kane was not very good.
It was boring and dull.
And nobody cared.
Breaking news. And
People
nobody cared.
chanted boring. Yep. They hit each other with chairs. Who gives a shit?
Correct on all counts. Swagger versus Rusev. This actually had some of the most heat on the show just because people like chanting USA and We the People. So I don't know what happened. I guess there was a fight in the crowd. But for most of this match, and it was a short match, but when they cut to the hard camera, literally everyone in the crowd was turned at 90 degrees to the right.
It appears that there was a fight.
I thought it was some kind of bizarre mass protest where they all turned their bodies to the ring so as to express their displeasure. But no, apparently the fight in the stands was better than the fight in the crowd, which is easy to believe. This was very boring. About 80% of it was Rusev having Swagger in the camel clutch, and then Swagger tapped out.
You know what's funny is I thought this was perfectly fine. They had their time cut because it's very important that we play all the video packages. But they had to cut time off the match. They had to cut time off Lana's promo. They went right to the near falls. We had a 2-minute version of every Swagger Rusev match you've ever seen. And finally, Swagger got put in the accolade. Everybody thought it was over, but he fought back. They went outside. A couple of super kicks. Back in for the accolade. They rang the bell. This had the potential to be better than the women's match and better than the Ryback-Kane match. And this was the one that got the time cut.
Yes. Yeah. And then Bray Wyatt versus Dean Ambrose in the pay-per-view main event featuring two mid-card geeks fighting over a fucking rocking chair.
Now, I gotta say, aside from the shocking finish, literally...
You love that pun, don't you?
I do love that pun. This was not a bad match. I actually thought it was a pretty good match.
It was the second best match in the show.
That's correct.
Clearly. I don't think it was...
But it should not have gone on last, especially with the finish that they gave us.
No. So... They were put in a very, very, very tough position because we had already seen guys do everything with weapons in the show. When you do a show full of gimmick matches, the 87th gimmick match is not that fun.
Not to mention a TLC where you win via pinfall or submission. This was a tables, ladders, and chairs match where somebody could have won with a cradle.
And almost did.
Or a chin lock.
Yes.
Why did they just hang the brass ring from the ceiling? That's what they should have done.
Sure.
Go with it.
Yeah. So they tried their best, and the crowd was kind of into it. Oh, by the way, since I did the research on Dean, I also did the research on Bray. He has not pinned anyone on pay-per-view since SummerSlam.
Wow.
These are main eventers.
Man. Why are these guys not over? I don't get it.
It's so weird. So it hit me during this match. This was the same show that had Usos versus Miz's. It felt like about 6 hours later. They also hurt each other a lot. Not nearly as much as Harper and Ziggler in the opener. And so they did a million elbows off of ladders. They hit each other with chairs. They did use Singapore canes, which was new and refreshing on the show. No one had done that yet.
Yeah, they did a great spot where a Singapore cane is sticking out of the corner.
Mm-hmm.
And Bray Wyatt throws Dean Ambrose's eyeball first into it.
That's exactly the phrase I used.
And I did not give a shit.
Well, yeah.
This guy had a crushed trachea. He was out for 0 days.
Yes.
Because he worked the house shows that weekend. Mm-hmm. And then later they do the same spot where they have Dean Ambrose do the chair-assisted crushed trachea spot to Bray. And Michael Cole's like, oh, he won't be doing any preaching anytime soon. And I was like, well, maybe if, Dean Ambrose had some problems speaking after his crushed trachea, but lo and behold, he didn't. He cut a great promo on Raw.
He got a cool new van with smoke.
How can you care about a pay-per-view like this when nobody ever sells getting injured?
You can't. No one could possibly care about the show. So there was a point during the match where Dean found a monitor under the ring. And on the monitor, which was showing a live showing of the show, in fact, he noted a very large ladder on the entranceway, so he went to get it. And the point of this was...
Because he couldn't see a 38-foot ladder without a monitor.
The point of this was to establish there was, in fact, a monitor there. And it actually was funny, because JBL went off about, why is there a monitor there? What's going on? And Cole pointed out, well, we do have producers who check things like lighting before the show. How long have you been doing this?
And that's right.
It was actually very funny. So, at the end of it, Ambrose goes to hit Bray with a monitor, but the cord's a little short. And so he gives it a yank, and it explodes into his face.
What an idiot.
A wacky, magic, exploding television. And then Bray hit Sister Abigail and pinned him.
That's what happened.
That was the finish of the main event of the pay-per-view.
The monitor, he didn't unplug it, and so first it got stuck. And you know what happened when it got stuck? Everybody laughed at Dean Ambrose. And then he tried it again. He didn't try to unplug it. He decided if at first you don't succeed, try again. My cats do this, by the way, when they're trying to yank on the fishing pole and it's stuck. And so they just try to yank again. That's what Dean Ambrose did. And it exploded in his face. And then he was pinned clean in the middle with the Sister Abigail.
Yeah.
It's a hardcore match. Of course it's clean. Everything's clean.
Okay, fair enough.
And Michael Cole, in the driest manner possible, nonchalantly said, and that is why we call TLC the Demolition Derby of WWE. And they went off the air. Wow. And everybody, those of you that saw this pay-per-view and were so annoyed at that finish and thought it was so horrible and compared it to TNA, if you watch the post-show with Booker T and Alex Riley and Paul Heyman, and they cut to these individuals as soon as this thing had blown up in his face to get their reactions, color them underwhelmed.
Oh, they knew. They knew they had seen something dumb. They had to do their best to get excited about it. It was a challenge and a struggle.
This pay-per-view, it wasn't like it was a terrible pay-per-view. It was largely boring. There were 2 good matches. They put some new guys in the main event, but man, after watching that Vince McMahon interview, and you hear about these millennials, these fucking millennials that won't just try and grab the brass ring, and here's Dean Ambrose just booked like a total numbnuts in the main event, losing clean in the middle of a pay-per-view main event to Bray Wyatt. It's like, man, no surprises. We're stuck. Let me play a song. I'm sickened to the core, Vinny. I'm more sick than you are right now.
CCW, laying the law once again. Prepare for war. CCW, eye for an eye. Daddy, here. All the violence, get to death tonight. At the arena of Red Swan, get to death. Ray blood, grilling out, drinking Jack. Homicide, going down, breaks with a tan. Golden boy. Pay-per-view, all for you, it's all new. It's easy. Eye for an eye, we're gonna die. It's a cage of life. Richie Swan, he's the man. Get a tan.